listening to AM 1220 KDOW, the Bay Area's business leader. And welcome to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy, helping you explore new marketing and social media trends that will give you that extra punch in your marketing strategy. Now, here's your host for Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy, Erica Taylor Montgomery.
Good morning and welcome to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery, and Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy is a show that covers everything you need to know to punch through your competition and deliver a total knockout when it comes to your public relations, marketing, social media, branding, advertising, and so much more. I'm the founder and CEO of Three Girls Media and Marketing, which is a public relations and social media marketing agency that really specializes in working with small and mid-sized companies with very cost-effective solutions. You can find us online at threegirlsmedia.com. That's threegirlsmedia.com. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. We are live and we're going to be able to take your calls throughout the hour. And we have another great show lined up for you today. And it's all about promoting your business online. In round one, we're going to be talking with an image consultant and fashion stylist in San Francisco, who's also an expert blogger on the topic of how to increase your blog following. And then we'll be covering some important tips for beginning bloggers, the differences between a couple of the major blogging platforms, and how you can even launch a product from your blog, and much more. And then in round two of Punch today, we're going to be talking with a returning guest who's a digital marketing expert on the topic of how to use Pinterest for business. We're going to be covering what your business needs to know about Pinterest, how it's different from the other social networks, and how your company can get started using Pinterest and some of the ways it can really, really benefit your company. And I know you're likely to have questions about today's topics, which is all about promoting your business online. So I encourage you to call into our live show today. It's toll free, 800-516-1220. That's 800-516-1220. So let's jump right into round one of today's show, how to increase your blog following. My guest is Dale Stalega, who is the founder of Savvy Spice. Now, Dale is an image consultant and a fashion stylist based in San Francisco. And interestingly enough, she's currently styling Hermione Way, who was one of the main cast members of Bravo's new hit reality show, Startup Silicon Valley. She is also the founder of a very popular blog, SavvySpice.com, and she has just launched her very first product stemming from her blog. It's actually a line of unisex satin pillowcases with a secret pocket called Savvy Sleepers. And in addition to all that, Dale is a very busy person. She writes a weekly fashion column for the Ukiah Daily Journal. Dale, welcome to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Dale, when bloggers are starting out, one of the first things that they need to do is decide what kind of blogging platform to use. So why don't we talk a little bit about two of the most popular blogging platforms, WordPress and Blogger, and some of the differences and advantages of each?
Okay, and I can definitely talk about this because I've actually used both. And I started with Blogger, and Blogger's the easiest platform because it's very simple. I mean, all you really need to do is, you just write your content and then you can just easily add photos. But one of the advantages of having WordPress is that you have a lot more capability to add in like SEO functions, and there's just a lot more, you can get more creative and have more design. But it does take more, you have to know a little bit about coding, not a lot, but I had someone just completely redesign my blog. And so it is a big step, which is why I would say, to look at both platforms, because when I first started, I just immediately went to Blogger. But if you are starting, because it can affect traffic, doing the switch, a couple years into blogging, it's definitely a good idea to research both and see what's going to be easiest for you before you actually start your blog.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I really like about WordPress, because I'm a huge WordPress fan, right, is that they do have a lot of templates that you can choose from. So you don't necessarily have to hire a graphic designer to to design your blog on WordPress, you can simply use one of their pre-designed templates, and there's literally hundreds, if not thousands, to choose from. And the other thing is that, it's in terms of editing a blog, it's really as easy as editing a Word document, for example. So those are just a couple of the features that I really like about WordPress.
I agree. And after doing the switch just a couple months ago, I was so hesitant to change over, thinking it was going to be too difficult. And it's really, like you said, it's really not. It's just like editing a Word document, and you just can add photos just as easily. It's saved me time too. It's more user friendly once you just get to know how to use it.
Terrific. So, how important do you think a blog's design and logo and layout are as opposed to just the content?
Well, the content is definitely the most important part, but just being in the styling business, people can be a bit superficial. And so when you come to a blog, I definitely, when I first started, my first year, my background was black. It had like white writing. It just didn't look very professional. And people do, when you go to a blog, I'm sure you notice the ones that, they look really good or they just look fancy. Even if that person only has a few followers, I would definitely encourage people to have just as nice of a design as they possibly can. And it depends on what they're blogging about too. The main goal or the main tip I would have is go to blogs that you really like and they're writing about a similar topic as you, and find the best ones. And then I kind of went from there and said, what do I like about this blog, the design? And I sort of took elements of my favorites and the ones I thought looked most professional, and then I used them on my blog.
I think you hit on something so important, which is if you are blogging for your business, professionalism is absolutely key. And that comes down to everything from the basic design to the font you use to the type of content you put up. You've got to put a professional front out there. It's really another representation of your brand. And so it needs to fit in line with your brand and with the other ways you represent your company, like your website, for example.
Yes, exactly. People are bombarded with hundreds of websites a day, and if somehow you can make yours stick, even if it's just because it's like a fancy logo or just it looks professional and clean, then it makes a huge difference if you can get a follower just from your design.
So, what tip would you give, Dale, to somebody maybe who hasn't started blogging yet, but they're considering doing it for the new year and they want to get started in 2013? Is there an encouraging tip that you could give somebody who's going to start a blog?
Yes, I definitely can, because I was there a couple years ago, and I think it was like 2009. I said, okay, I'm starting my fashion blog this year, and it never happened. And finally, January 2011, I think it's the perfect time right now, because you can make it a New Year's resolution to start your blog. And it is intimidating because it does take time. It takes, time writing. But what helped me is I actually, before I posted anything, I just started, when I had some free time, start writing blog posts. When you think of content, just start writing it ahead of time. And then when you're ready to start your blog, maybe you'll have 5 or 6 posts already written. You can just import them into, whatever platform you choose. But then you feel more prepared rather than just going to your Blogger platform with it completely blank. It can be really intimidating.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I do want to talk about as soon as we come back from the break is what happens when you get writer's block and you need to find content, and some great tips for how to go about doing that so you can always have fresh content on your blog. We're talking with Dale Stalega. Her website is savvyspice.com, and we're talking about how to increase your blog following. You're listening to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network, where we help you punch through the competition and deliver a total knockout with your PR, your marketing, and your social media. We'll be right back.